Hi guys, I expect this lesson to be quite a long one because we will discuss a lot of things today. So we'll dive inside Java programming itself, learn how to read data from database with the use of Hibernate, use Entity Manager, use write your own HSQL queries, which stands for Hyperstructured Query Language, and configure Spring Security, secure your flows, manage HTTP sessions, authenticate objects. We will create some advanced AJAX features like AJAX behavior events. Also, we'll learn how to use PrimeFaces components. I'll try to show as much as possible in our context. We'll learn how to read properties files from Java code or just from bean XML files. We'll learn Webflow, how to use Webflow action states, transitions, evaluations, flow scope variables, and a lot more about Webflow. Learn how to bind view to the Java module. Also, we'll use some good practices like DAO, which stands for Data Access Object, which is a pattern developed by Java developers community, which gives us a convenient way to work with persistence. And of course, we will follow a lot of good practices and conventions, which is applied to the Java web development. So, just to demonstrate, this is a result that we must achieve by the end of this lesson. Just create it on my other computer and deploy it on this computer for demonstration purposes. So, okay, here's the application we started to develop in our tutorial. Looking the same as in my previous video, we still can go to the sign in view state and back to sign up, except that now we have a fully functioning both forms and can create users and authenticate them. So let's go and create a user, go to sign up, and a little difference here. We see that I've changed that messages will show next to the failed field instead of one big messages area. And this all is AJAX based server-side validation. When I type in some first name, it will listen key pressed events and execute that server-side validation on each character I type in. So this is still not long enough. The username field is quite a special one. It also asynchronously queries the database to look up if that user with that username is already created, and pop the message next to the username field informing us about that. So code, this is a clear database, we do not have any users. And this shows that that username is available. So type in some password and let's try to create the user. We just created the user and it's been saved to our database. You see that some greetings message with the first name and last name. And here's an account for user we just created. It is an empty account by now. We'll put effort in account development in the future videos. You also notice that we were redirected to the account after successful user creation and user authentication. And here we can just log out our account and we'll be redirected back to the sign-in form. So I press log out and here we are. So of course we just created a user and we can use that username to log in to our account back. If I type in username that's not that doesn't exist in database, I'll be provided by a message that no such user was name provided, or put the incorrect password, and that will then it will be bad credentials. All this authentication is made by Spring Security Authentication Manager, so it's quite safe. Let's type in the correct password, and here we are back to logged into our account. Again, the greetings message, which you can close or it will disappear after a couple of seconds. And you see that this is another flaw called account, which is secured by Spring Security. Okay, let's just now log out and invalidate the session and go back to our sign-in form. Let's see if the username is already created, if we want to create the same. So it's available, and now you see that this is not available. Another character and it's available. So the request is the application is querying database on each character you type in. You can choose from various events to execute that query on database via Ajax. Just for demonstration purposes, I choose the key up event, so that every time you press the key in that field and type in character, the database query is made and the result is sent back to our user. And of course, if you will try to create a user with that username, you'll be just not allowed. So okay, that's demonstration. And the last thing, if we just go and type in our URL string the account flaw directly, the Spring Security will just bring us to the authentication form. So here we're back and nothing happens. Okay, now let's go to the Eclipse and start implement all of this. Close the application. Fine. So let's open our Eclipse. First of all, guys, I will ask you to change some library versions because I discovered some bugs in Spring Security. So let's go to our pom.xml file and let's find the security libraries dependencies. And here we have two libraries, Spring Security Web and Spring Security Config. And let's just change this to 3.1.3 version, like this. Save it, and that's all. Now we can go forward. I will start the application server. Okay, still works. And now, we created two forms that both of them are without binding to any Java model, to any Java class or entity, whatever you call it. So that basically means that all the data will type in these fields will not be saved anywhere in server memory. These data doesn't go anywhere. As you might guess correctly, we need to create some Java class module that will hold all these data in server memory. So let's go to the Eclipse and go to the Java source folder. Let's create here a package. I highly recommend you to use the packages because we will have a lot of Java class files and it will become really messy if you do not have a package structure. And even more, it is required to use the packages in real-world projects. So remember our package. I'll do it that way. We have the package com.example J2EE application. I will copy this and starting from this, additionally I will add domain, which basically means that this package will hold entities and models that we can use for data binding from our user interface. Usually it is called, like I just typed in, it's domain, yeah. Okay, finish. We have a package. Inside that we create a new class file. And let's say we'll call it user entity, because we want to save a user data inside that. Let's click finish. And here's our empty class. By the way, let's create some Java documentation. It is also very good practice. And put some description here, like entity to hold application user data, like first name, last name, and etc. Now we want to create private class fields, so we are just following the basic encapsulation and Java Bean pattern. So we create the private fields, which is all of them are strings. So first name, last name, all strings. So let's create a first name, and just to speed things up, I'll copy another 4 and just change this to last name, username, and here we type in password. And of course, because it's a Java Bean, we create public accessor methods, which we call getters and setters. So to do that with the help of Eclipse, we just right click, go to the generate getters and setters, and we see that here are our fields. Just check the boxes for all of them, choose the insertion point, which is after last field, which is password, and access modifier remain public, and click OK. And here's our getters and setters. Just click organizing. Fine. So guys, we just created the Java Bean. That's basically is what is called Java Bean. Private fields and public accessor methods. That simple. And you notice that the method names is basically the field name which is changed to capital letter, and the prefixes like get and setter methods are with the arguments that receive the first name, and getter method just returns that private value. This is very important because the Spring Framework and the Java server faces, all of them use the Java bean pattern to access these fields. So our frameworks will look for these accessor methods all over the application. So keep in mind. So let's save this piece of code, and we have this Java class, but we still need to bind it to our view. And for that purpose, we go to our flow definition file, which is our main flow.xml file source. And just before our first view state, which is welcome, we create called flow scope variable. We just can hit the control space, and here's our menu. And let's choose the variable tag, give it a name, let's say user, and here we need to point to the class that we want to use for this variable, and this is gonna be the whole class with the whole package. So I will copy the package first, and dot, and now the class name. Fine. Now we have a flow scope variable. What this means? This means that when the flow is initiated, when the flow is started, then this instance of the user entity class will be created in the server memory, and it will be destroyed at the end of our flow. So we can use this flow scope variable inside our flow, but can't use this variable in some other flows until we use some special approaches to pass the variables across the different flows. So let's say we want to create the sign up form first, and here's is our sign up form with the view signup.xhtml. And if we hit here control space, we see that here we have a model attribute, which description says that the model object this view is bound to. So okay, we choose it and pass this reference inside the quotes. Still, this is not enough. Before we can test some real execution, we need to go to our signup.xhtml view, which is stored inside the flow folder main, and here's it. Open it. Here we can find all the fields that we see in our user interface, and the first one is the first name, and we see that value attribute is empty. What we do here, there's this thing called expression language, which have different implementations. We use that expression language to reference the field in our model class. To do that, we do following: number sign and curly braces, and that basically means that we invoke the expression language engine. Inside the braces, we reference the user variable, which we created here at just before flow scope variable, dot, and the field name finally, which is this is a first name. We give it the names to our class fields, basically the same naming as we have here identifiers in the fields. So we just can copy this here and do this for all of the remaining fields. Do the same for last name, username, and password. And be careful, because here we have a different identifier name inside the brackets than we have in our Java model class. Inside that expression language, we need to point to the model class variable names. So we copy this password, or you just can type in and just like copy paste a lot, and that will be fine. You see that we reference just the name of variable exactly like we have in our class, but this means that framework will look for public accessor methods, because we put the accessor methods like private here, so we can't access those fields directly anywhere in our application. So this expression will search for methods with names of get password and set password. So keep in mind. And the last field is our second password. Here we just do not need the value attribute at all, because we need to pass the password only once. Delete that. And we actually should be able now to go inside the debug mode and to see if our values from our form is passed inside the Java class. So let's save this file. Let's stop the server. Let's recompile the project. And now we just, instead of starting server, we start it in the debug mode. Click that. Basically the same as the start the server, but additionally it will add the listener port for debugging purpose. So this is a very important feature in development, allowing to see as a lot of application internals and how the logic executes. If you are not familiar with debugging, you just can go and Google and try to find some tutorials about debugging. But you should be fine with just following with me. So we started the server. We go to the debug perspective. Here we have an application threads currently running in our application. Then I'll put this down. And now to see what happens in our user entity class, we go to that file, Java file, and double click next to the methods on this bar to set the breakpoints where application should be stopped in stepping mode. So the first is set first name, set last name, set username, and set password. Now we just go to our application and use it as usual. Yeah, sorry for this. I just forgot that all objects that is used in Flow as Flow scope variables should implement the serializable interface. Let's go back to our user entity Java file. Go up and just add here implements serializable from java.input-output package, and it will ask us to put the serial version constant in our class to identify it. So we click add generated serial version ID, save. Let's terminate the debug mode, and here we have serial version. Just go back and recompile again. And start debug mode again. So let's try it again. Let's go to application, and finally it starts successfully. Go to our sign up form. Let's type in some first name, last name, username, password, and see whether the Eclipse will catch up some breakpoints. Sign up, and you see that our application execution is paused because the breakpoint is cached, and it will not go forward until we take an action in our debug mode in Eclipse. Let's go in Eclipse and see what we have here. Oh, okay, we need some additional configuration to Eclipse to help it to look the source files. So click the edit source lookup path, add Java project, check the box, and click OK. Let's hope it will pick this. Okay. And here we have our source. A little confusing here is that I updated the Java file and did not update the breakpoints, so this is some kind of misplaced. Let's do it correctly. I'll delete all breakpoints, resume, and create it from the beginning. So first name, set last name, set username, and set password. Let's go again to our application. Sign up. Our Eclipse is screaming, and now it's fine. And yeah, edit source lookup code you just needed to do once in our project, and it will do fine till the end. So what we see here, we see that one of the application threads is suspended. So we have a lot of them, and here we have the execution stack trace. This basically shows the methods trace that invoke each other till it get to our set first name. In our case here, it's a lot of Spring interceptors and so Webflow and a lot of things here, so it's not that interesting. And here's the arrow, which means that the current point where the execution is stopped. So it's a set first name method. If we hover over these fields, we see that the pop-up screen is showing, and here is the value, the current value of this field is showing here below. So null means that there's no value at all. So the same as the last name, username, all is null. So if we go and hover on the attribute, we see that here's the value passed from our user interface, and it is John. So when we hit the resume button, then it will go to the next breakpoint, and next breakpoint is the last name, set the last name method. So I click, and here's I am in the last name method. Now when I go and see the value for the first name, it is initialized. It's not null, it's not an empty string, it's a value John. So we see that the first name is passed, we see that the last name, Smith, is passed, the username, Smithy, and finally the password, which is just 3 characters. And when we click resume, then application is resumed and works as it were before. You probably noticed that the password is passed in this method in a way of unencrypted, so this is not safe. In real-world applications, you will use the SSL secure protocol to send data between server and client. So it will be just enough to add encryption just here, right in set password method, and we can do it this way. So that basically we need to achieve goal, which is to store all passwords in encrypted way in our database and all over our application. So for that purpose, we can use the Spring security services. It's called the password encoder, and here's different interfaces available, and we need the first one. Let's say so. And we need the implementation of that encoder interface, which will be the different algorithms available for caching, for hashing and encryption. In our case, we will use the MD5 algorithm, MD5 password encoder, which has created the instance of password encoder with the MD5 implementation. And the next step is just remove that direct password assigned to our variable, and instead of that use our new object crypto dot, and here we have a service methods. With the first one is just what we need. Click enter, and in the first argument pass the password which we get in the set password method, so that way. And the second one, if I remember correctly, is the salt, which is you can enforce your password encoding by additional characters. In our case, we just use the standard MD5 hashing and just put the null here. So okay, let's save this file. And by the way, the default debug mode functionality will help you to change to deploy new code without the restarting server. That functionality will be provided by Eclipse Hotswap technology. So I just click save, and this code and the bytecode should be substituted directly without any restart required. So let's test it again and see if our password now will be stored in an encrypted way. So go to our application, put something here, and our password. Again, Eclipse, first name, go forward, last name. You have the additional view here for variables, and here you can see all the variables in our current class. And as you see here, here's all. First name is already assigned, and as we go forward by pressing the resume button, You see that the last name is already here's the username and of course the password. If you're not familiar with the debug mode, you can go through the method logic by these arrows, which will allow you to go step by step by the logic of the current method, in which our suspended point is. So we see that the arrows show that we are currently here initializing this password encoder. We just go step over and we are here. We now have a password encoder initialized, and you see that this is our MD5 implementation here. And now we just see how the encode password will execute and assign the password variable. So we can use this step over, and let's look at our value, and very good. We see that our password is now stored in memory in a hashed way, so you can't go vice versa and uncode this hash code back to our initial password. This is one way hashing algorithm. So this will be stored in database as well. So and now what we want to do is, as we managed to get the data from our form to our Java model, we want to save it to our database. So the next step we will do is use the Hibernate and Entity Manager to persist our user to some database table. So we can close the debug mode by now. Go to our J2EE perspective and go to the top of our class.